Welcome everybody to episode number 335 of Goulet Q&A. I'm Brian Goulet here all sweatered out because it's December, baby, and we are in the holiday spirit. What are we talking about today? Let's see here. I'm going to be talking about eyedropper converting a Sailor 1911 compass. Follow up to a previous question answered. Step by step on how to definitely not swap the nibs on Sailor and Platinum pens, because if you ruin it, that'll void your warranty. So you shouldn't do that, but I'll show you exactly how you shouldn't do that. My favorite blue ink that you can get in Pilot Namiki cartridges. Where have all the TWSBI Vac Minis gone, and will they ever come back? My favorite artists and designers that I would commission for pen designs if I could. And I'm going to spotlight the Esterbrook Travel Workshop Kit, which is a fantastic unboxing explosion that I think you're really going to enjoy. So it should be good. Took last week off for Thanksgiving, so I got a little bit to make up for it here. We're going to start off with a bunch of feedback, and then I got a bunch of new products to show you. So it's going to be an action-packed adventure today. Let's get into it. All right, first bit of feedback from Olivia Lambert, 4124, says, plasma treatment is a fascinating technology that I didn't think would come to pens. This is specifically talking about the feeds that are used on Monteverde and Conklin. It is used in aerospace to increase wettability, mostly for bonding with glue and resin. But it seems very well suited to pens. A bit of an expense, but not hugely difficult after the initial setup. It effectively reduces the effect of surface tension, which allows the ink to spread and flow very well. After a little engineering, it should allow a nicer feed, as Brian noted. In more technical terms, it makes the surface more hydrophilic. So there you go. I did not know that that was the original application, but that makes a lot of sense. So very cool. Thank you for that little bit of feedback there. Okay. Kutane says, went back in the video history and you had the ooze tube timer thing there on your desk, even in episode 1. I'm assuming it's episode 1 of Q&A, which was, boy, that would be a decade ago. I think, no, maybe more. 2013, I think, is when I first started doing that. So 12 years ago. And then they said it definitely has changed color over time. Yes, it has, no doubt. Let's see here. What else we got? Tony Proctors has some feedback here. Hey, Brian, I really love the look of the Conklin 1898 wood and resin and many of the other 1898 resins. I actually have a couple of the earlier versions, the Mediterranean Sea and the Misto Orange and the more recent Bohemian Twilight. So I am an all-out Conklin-obsessed fan. While I understand the new Crescent clip and how it fits with the Conklin brand in history, I haven't been able to warm up to the new clip. It seems too large, and on a large pen, it seems less sleek. I'm struggling to not say clunky than the traditional rocker clip. So I know some don't like the rocker clip, but to me, the overall look and balance of the pen was better before the Crescent clip came along. Just my feedback in case you wanted to pass that along to Conklin. Might be alone in my design taste, but I'd be more likely to get it if I had the old style clip. Thanks for all you do. Happy 16th anniversary. Well, thank you, Tony. I know you've been with us for a while, and I do value that feedback. So I will pass that along. I don't know if that will make a world of difference, but we will see. They do listen. They respond to things pretty well, so I will pass that along. Let's see here. What else we got? Zytec 1150 says, awesome. Thank you so much for explaining the Ferris wheel press bijou nib removal. Another great episode. This is on the last episode. Another great episode. So many of those new launches are gorgeous, and I'm with you all the way on the broads, Brian. They're just so cool for enjoying all the ink properties and not weird at all. Congratulations on the sustained weight loss and the beautiful pen stand. Happy Thanksgiving all. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate all the congratulations. Let's see here. I will say the weight loss took a bit of a setback with Thanksgiving, but it's okay. We're still on the bus, on the horse, in the saddle, whatever the expression is. I'm still doing it. Anyway, I'm just standing here, says Goulet Pens is now old enough to drive. Yes. Yeah, I guess you're kind of right. Though in the state of Virginia, you have to be 16 years and 3 months old. So technically not. Well, no, sorry. Yeah, no. Wait, what is it? Okay, hang on. I think that's right. You have to be 15 and a half to get your learner's permit. You have to have your learner's permit for 9 months. So you can't drive until you're 16 and 3 months in Virginia. So not quite old enough. Well, not old enough to drive with a learner's permit, I guess. Anyway, it doesn't matter because we're talking about a business, not a person. Anyway, thanks for the observation. My son is old enough to drive and with the learner's permit. And that's weird. And yeah, anyway. Okay, and then Ipanadis says, you are not a fan of thin pens. Did you see your tragic writing? Savage. The day that you learn to write with speed and beauty, you will begin to appreciate thin pens. Sorry to inform you. Besides, you have big hands, so medium pens could fit you. But bold ones are just desired for those that have really ugly letters. Wow. Let me know how you really feel. I can't argue with the tragic writing that I have. What's tragic is that I've been using fountain pens for over 16 years now, and my writing has hardly improved. But you know what? That's okay. We all have our gifts, and I still enjoy writing with my pens just as much. But my preference for large pens has pretty much stayed constant in that whole time. So I don't know. Let's take a poll. What do y'all think? If your handwriting gets better, do you appreciate thin pens more? I don't know. I seem to be not completely alone in the camp of people who like large pens, but also there's plenty of people who like thinner pens too. So does it have more to do with your handwriting or does it have more to do with your hand size? I don't know. How will we find that out? We probably won't. I'll just theorize and move on. Anyway, thanks for all that feedback, everybody. I have a lot of new stuff to talk about and some to show you. So let's just get right into it because it's holiday season and there's a lot coming in for the next couple of weeks. So let's do it. All right, let's kick it off. We got the Platinum 3776 Century Misty Bloom. It is a limited edition. They only are making 1,500 of them. They are more expensive, $400 for one of these guys. But it's a cool pen, and I'm going to show it to you because I'm keeping one because I like them. Don't know why, but it comes with green ink. Your guess is as good as mine why it's coming with green ink. But it's a very cool looking pen. Rose gold trim. So it is a smooth, kind of glossy finish to it. And I feel like there we go. I'm a little bright on the color. There we go. Okay. Nice looking pen. It's a kind of a lavender color. Maybe a slight gray to the lavender. And then rose gold trim, rose gold nib, 14 karat nib. I got an extra fine on this one. And then it's like I wouldn't say it's a frosty white. It's a very, very pale purple. But maybe that's just a visual trickery because the rest of the pen is kind of that purple color. No, I don't think it's a pure white because it does have a little hint of a grayish kind of purple tone to it. Yeah, there you go. So I don't believe that the pens themselves are numbered, which is weird. I don't know why Platinum doesn't number the pens, but they often do that with some of these limited editions. It depends on the series. But anyway, it is, I guess, numbered on the package. Let's see here. What number do I have? 83? Is that it? 83-1? No, I don't know. I don't know about the number. Maybe it's on a card. Sorry. You all are just along for the ride here because I literally have not opened the pen until now. No, warranty card? I don't know. Maybe they're not numbered at all. Maybe, yeah, they must not be individually numbered. I don't think we say that they are. I was just guessing, perhaps. So anyway, they're only making 1,500 of them, but they are not individually numbered. But anyway, it's a 3776 in some different colors with some nice packaging. So anyway, if you're interested in that, we will have them for a little bit, I guess, but not forever because 1,500 pens is not that many pens worldwide. So that is it, but the packaging is beautiful and it looks very nice. So that is the Misty Bloom. It's going to be an extra fine, fine, and medium. So there you go. What else we got? TWSBI has a new Eco called Cosmo with Onyx. And it's pretty wild looking. So TWSBI's not done, or I guess a new thing for 2025 is these like swirly kind of colors. It's not just a flat color. So this is kind of like a light blue here with some brighter green and purple kind of striated throughout it. And it looks pretty interesting. Some of the green gets kind of bright looking. It's not like glow in the dark or anything, but I don't know, it's nice. It's like a premium Eco, so it's got the nice kind of metallic logo in the top, and then it's got the Onyx trim with the Onyx nib as well. Other than that, it's an Eco. So this one is going to be $58.99 because it is that kind of that premium appointments. Yeah. Oh, whoa! I misspoke. It apparently is a glow in the dark cap and finial. Let me see. Is it glow in the dark? I don't know if I'm seeing it glow in the dark. I may have to verify this. I will correct it in whatever the text is over top of the screen here, because I need to look this up. My note says glow in the dark, but I'm not seeing it glow in the dark. But then again, it's been sitting here in my tray and not been in the light very much. So I will report back on that now, because I'm going to do it later after I record, but I'm going to put it in the text. Anyway, what do we got here? Extra fine, fine, medium, 1.1, sorry, broad 1.1 stub are the options there. And yeah, let's go on. Diamond Lady Gray is a new ink color we have. It's like a gray kind of purple color. Looks pretty nice. Got it in a 30 mil and an 80 mil, $9 and $19 respectively. And this was developed by the Reddit Society. So, you know, pretty cool. Reddit's done some good stuff with their Diamond inks in the past. I believe Writer's Blood came from there. What else came from there? I don't remember what else off the top of my head, but there's been a couple of good colors they've come out with. So we'll see if this one joins the ranks of the others that are iconic. Next up, I have the Esterbrook Travel Journal Workshop Set. I'm not going to show you everything on it yet, because that's going to be the feature for today. But look at this cool little suitcase box that it comes in. Okay, I'll show you more later. The box is just absolutely packed with stuff. It's going to be $80 for that. $79.95 technically. And it's got some pretty cool stuff going on in there for anybody that likes to do any travel journaling or bullet journaling or washi taping or any of that type of stuff. There's lots of things. Stamps. It's got all kinds of stuff in there. So I'll show you that in a few minutes. What else we got? Conklin Duragraph Matte Blue PVD Special Edition. So this is pretty cool. This is a Goulet exclusive, because of course we like to do everything blue. We have a lot of blue pens. Basically all the pens I have to show you here are blue today. Almost. Well, the Century was not. Anyway, let's see here. What do we got? It's basically a matte blue metal pen. It's got some nice heft to it. Yeah, got that beautiful plasma treated feed, which you now know all about. Let's see, it posts, though it posts really long, it's kind of heavy. So I don't tend to prefer writing with it posted, but it's still a good pen. $80 pen. Not too shabby for what you get. Comes with a converter. It's got Yoba made nib and number 6 size nib. If you're not familiar, I mean, it's a Duragraph, so a lot of people are familiar with Duragraph, but it is the metal version of the Duragraph, so it is going to be heavier. Extra fine, fine, medium, broad, 1.1 stub, and OmniFlex. That's what we got. What else do I have to talk about? Black trim. Looks nice, black nib. So yeah, very sharp looking pen. I'm loving the blue and the black look. Match the pens, each of the houses, but then they also have 4 more. And these are all shimmering inks. So if you like shimmer inks, take a look at those. All right. What else do I have? The Banu has a new model of pen called the Haute. It's a very interesting pen. It's a square design, which must be difficult to do. I don't really know how they accomplish it, but it is squared, including the trim and everything. So it's a little more expensive, because to make a faceted pen like this has got to be more complicated, I would assume. Very cool looking colors. We have 5 different shades. I, of course, chose the blue one for myself. This is the Allure. And they did lots of translucents too. So I've been digging Banu doing more of the translucent resins too, which looks really great. It's got a number 6 size nib on it. It's technically postable, but it's kind of long when you post it. And because of the like square design, the inside I've found is round. But then because of the square design, it's only making contact kind of on the corners. So it doesn't really hurt anything to post it, but you do have to kind of jam it on there a little bit. So for me, you know, it can work, but I would not go doing cartwheels with this thing posted in your hand. Not that you would anyway, but it's so long, I don't even bother posting it. So I just keep it like that. But just wanted to let you know about that. And then there's going to be one holiday color too. That's Emerald Eve, which looks really nice too. If you're into the very much like, I want a Christmas pen, take a look at that one. That one's a little bit more. So the pen's normally $210. That pen is going to be $230 for the holiday one. And Next pen we got is a Monovertic MP1 collectible gift set, Mocha Mousse. So that was the like special color they did earlier this year to match the sort of Pantone color of the year. And looks really nice. It's like a satin kind of brown color. Well, we had that pen already, but there's a set that's going to come with this aluminum base to it, which is pretty interesting. You know, it's the base is made to fit. It's not like a universal pen stand. It's really made to fit the MP1. So, you know, they're something that they do sell separately for pens, but we haven't carried them. So I'm really curious what y'all think of these, you know, sets with the base in them. So we'll see how they sell. We'll see if y'all are interested. If you want them, we could get more of those bases separate from the pens if you have an MP1 and you want that stand. But again, it kind of only fits that pen. So that's why we were like, I don't know. So we'll see. Anyway, that set is $80. It's got number 6 Yovo nib and extra fine, medium, broad 1.1 stub and OmniFlex. It's got that plasma treated feed going on. And it's a piston filling pen with a 2 mil reservoir. And yeah, special edition, all that good stuff. So that will be coming. And then last thing I have, I know I talked about a lot of different things, is we have a new Conklin 1898 that maybe Tony will be into, except for this bodacious clip. But this is a new exclusive that we have. Not wildly different than the other one that we did earlier, but this one is fully translucent and has some really cool looking purple and blue and kind of a silvery color in there. It's got some shimmer, looks very swirly. Each pen is going to look very different because the swirls just come out looking different. These are Brooks resins from Carolina Pens. And yeah, it just looks really nice. So some of them are like stronger in the purple. Some of them are stronger in the blue. I tried to pick one that was like mid-range, so it kind of represented that. Maybe it's like lighter on the purple even than some of the other ones that I've seen, but either way, we try to photograph like whenever we have something that looks like really different like this, we try to photograph multiple of them so you can see like a sampling of what they could look like. Because it is difficult when you buy online. You don't know exactly what pen you're going to get. So we try to show a representation of it as we can. So anyway, this material is called Unicorn Galaxy 2.0. So it is a Goulet exclusive that we have. And yeah, so Unicorn Galaxy 2.0 is a material that Jonathan Brooks has done in other things, but to do it on the Conklin like this is unique. So let's see here, 180 for that pen, comes with a converter. Yeah, and they're limited. We're only doing 100 of them. So we'll see how long they last. Okay, I think that's it for new products. I think y'all have had your fill on that one. Let me do a couple company updates and then we'll get into the questions for the week. All right, company updates. We are catching up, or I guess have been catching up. It's weird. I'm recording this on Monday afternoon, but y'all are going to watch this on Friday or maybe later. So I have to talk about it in past tense. We will have mostly caught up, I think, from the whole Black Friday, Cyber Monday, everything time. We were in pretty good shape leading into Thanksgiving, but then of course we're off for Thanksgiving. We had a very limited team here on Friday last week, and then Saturday and Sunday were closed. So we come in on Monday and there's a ton of orders to get out. We're basically catching up all week, and I'm hoping that we get mostly caught up. We might be a little bit behind because we just don't have as big a team as we used to, and things are a little more streamlined. So when we do get higher volume than normal, sometimes it takes us a little bit to catch up. We try to put disclaimers everywhere that we could, but you know, we're doing our best. So we also want to like give our team time off for the holidays because everybody's been working hard and family's important. So thank you for being patient on that. So yeah, we've been catching up all week. Let's see here. Also had a video on it's basically like a gift guide kind of a video. I put this together based on what we have right now. I try to break things out into different kind of price buckets. So if you're shopping for anything kind of within a certain price range, you can see what we have. It'll be somewhat timely, but I tried to make it not specifically like this is only relevant around Christmas time because there's, you know, other holidays that happen. And so it's just kind of a general gift guide. There may be some things in there that may not age just because we might sell out of them eventually, but try to make it a little evergreen. But anyway, you can go check that one out. It's very timely for holiday season right now. So if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. You can see what I kind of highlight, and it's what would make good gifting pens and stuff like that. Okay. What else? Let's see here. Also want to talk a little bit about just some AI stuff. Not anything too in depth, but it came up a little bit on Goulet Nation. And, we did test something out this past weekend that I want to just kind of mention to you also. As you know, AI is being shoved down all of our throats everywhere we turn. So it's something that we've had on our radar for a long time. And we've been testing basically like every software. We have a tech stack of, 60 plus different softwares that we use to do everything we do at Goulet Pens. And over the last year, pretty much every software we use has been like, here's all this AI stuff now. Because I don't know, they pumped like $400 billion or something like that as a whole industry into AI things. So yeah, you can imagine that people are going to try to make that happen in their various softwares. But anyway, we've been testing stuff mostly behind the scenes just to kind of see, can it help us do what we do better? Not can it replace us, but can it enhance what our team is doing? So it's mostly been helping with grammar and these types of things. But we've had really good success with our online chat feature on our website, especially after hours and off hours and things like that. We get a lot of questions like, where's my status of my shipping and what's my tracking number and all these types of things. That's stuff that AI is really good at answering. But, we have a lot of, as you can imagine, questions that we've answered about fountain pens over the last 16 years. So there's a lot of opportunities to be able to answer some more just kind of basic questions and stuff like that. And so we've been testing some of that out. And we tried it out for the first time, just testing it, very limited capacity this past weekend, because we were basically off for 3.5 days, more or less. So we were like, you know what, let's try this and see if it's a better than nothing kind of a thing. The AI thing can, respond to certain questions that we feel pretty confident that it can. And, and then we'll review it on Monday and see, how it did. We've been mostly having it like train on stuff that we've answered before and make recommendations, and then we always review it. But for the first time, we were like, let's try just having it respond to some people over the weekend. It was a handful, it was not that many people, but it came up on Goulet Nation, and some people were like, AI is terrible. Goulet's really falling down the hole. And it's like, okay, calm down, everybody. It literally was like a dozen and a half emails that it responded to. So not a huge amount, but it is something that we are experimenting with, literally just because, I want to speak about it mainly because AI is in the news and stuff like that. Basically every business is having to either interact with AI in the runnings of their business, or there's AI tools where it's like, well, we're a small company and we're limited. So is there something that could help us here provide better service to our customers? Not replacing people, but just helping us out, kind of a thing. So we've been trying that. So we're gonna keep a close eye on it. Please let us know as you interact with it if it's something that is helpful. We are by no means trying to make things feel less personal, but we are trying to provide some level of service, especially in our off hours. That's mostly our motivation, is can we give our team a break when they need a break? Can it provide y'all some assistance at times when we're not able to answer things with the more basic stuff? But we're still going to keep our team working at the same hours and stuff as they normally would. But, if there's questions that can be answered, or you can at least get some semblance of a response being like, hey, we're going to take a look at this on Monday when we get back in, but this might answer your question. That could only be helpful, right? So we're trying that out, but I felt like I just needed to talk about it a little bit, because it's by no means is it oh yeah, we're going all AI and we can't wait to get rid of people. No, not at all. We are very much pro people. If anything, we're hesitant, but we're mostly disclaiming, we're trying out some AI stuff. A lot of other companies are just doing AI and not even telling you that it's happening. So not specifically pen companies, but just elsewhere, everywhere. So yeah, anyway, that's something we're trying out. So we'll see how that goes. And if it goes down in flames, we'll not do it anymore, obviously, and just keep doing our thing. But yeah, so we'll see. And then lastly, we are in the holiday season, so I did want to have just some updates on shipping deadlines. Of course, all bets are off as to what's going to happen. This has been a crazy year for all things shipping. But we do have some ideas and things that we're kind of keeping an eye on in terms of like when you should order something for the holidays if you are hoping to get it before Christmas. So internationally, basically order it immediately. But FedEx Economy is December 12th. FedEx Priority, December 17th. And the standard stuff, the date's already passed, basically on the Friday this week, December 4th. But there's no guarantees on any of the FedEx standard stuff. Domestically, we have FedEx 2-day would be December 19th, FedEx Overnight, December 22nd, but please don't wait that long. Standard would be 12/16. I don't know why I said it that way. December 16th would be any of the standard stuff. And then the economy, which is what we do for our free shipping, could be shipped in a multitude of different shipping methods. But that one would be December 15th. So you got a little bit over a week to look at that. So anyway, just order stuff as much in advance as you can if you definitely have to have it before Christmas. Otherwise, do some of these expedited shipping methods. So there you go. I think we'll have those posted somewhere, but I don't remember where exactly. We'll probably do some emails about it. We might have it posted on our site. I'm not sure. But either way, I just wanted to mention those. Okay, that's it for updates. Let's get into the questions for this week. I got 5 of them for you. So let's do it. Okay, Lisa Ann Art has a follow-up question. So says, my question from episode 333 about being able to eyedropper convert a Sailor 1911 was actually about the Sailor Compass 1911 because it doesn't seem to have any metal on the inside. Thank you for taking my question. You're welcome, Lisa. And I'm taking it again because I want to answer your question that you're originally asking. It is a little confusing because they call different things 1911. But anyway, here is, I'm going to zoom in a bit. Here is the Sailor Compass 1911. Now, it's confusing a little bit. You're going to be like, oh, that's an interesting pen. Let me go look at that. It's not on our site anymore because it's discontinued. But we did carry it for several years. There's still a bunch out there probably in your hands. And the question is complicated and it's very visual. So I thought, why not show it? Okay, so here's the Compass 1911. Now, if you look at our site, you will see other things called Compass. So basically, Sailor's Compass line is their kind of lower tier everyday collection kind of line of pens, all steel nibs, versus their higher end gold nib stuff. So anything called Compass is going to be on their kind of more affordable end. For example, the Compass 1911 here, which is discontinued, but then there's the Compass Fude de Manon, the Compass High Ace Neo, the Compass Hokoro dip pens, and I believe the Sailor Tuzu is also technically a Compass, but it's already called the Tuzu Adjust, and it was just confusing, like Sailor Compass Tuzu Adjust. It's like, that's too many names. So we simplified that one. But essentially the Tuzu Adjust is what replaced this Compass as the go-to starter steel nib Sailor pen. Anyway, so this pen came in different colors. It was like 8 different colors or something like that. I can't remember. I believe we did a video on it at some point, but I don't remember all the facts. But either way, it's all plastic. So there's no metal on there. So it's like, this seems like a really good eyedropper candidate. It's not, unfortunately. Because of the back. So there's 2 things that have to happen in order for you to be able to successfully eyedropper convert a pen. One is that it has to not have any metal components that would corrode. And the other one is it has to not have any holes where it would leak. Those 2 things are critically important for a successful eyedropper experience. So I have this little hex wrench here that I'm going to use to poke out this little back portion. I have no idea why, but ta-da! This little peg is removable. Why is it removable? I don't know. I don't know what it's there for. Maybe it's because in some markets it's maybe marketed as a kid's pen and they need to have that there for a non-choking hazard or something. I don't know. But either way, this little thing is not glued in. It just pops right out. I found this out the hard way when we first got the compasses because I was like, let's just go for it. And I eyedropper converted it. And it was fine for a little bit, but then this thing started to leak and it got ink all over my stuff. So don't do that. But if you're really determined, you could glue this thing in place and seal it up. I don't know if you put silicone grease on here, if that would work. Theoretically, it could, because that would seal it up. But also if you put silicone grease in here, that would make it kind of more slick and make it more likely to pop out, because it's just friction fit in there. So I don't know if that would work honestly or not. Maybe that's a first step, is you try throwing a little silicone grease on there, seal it up, and then go about your day. But glue would be better. So a little cyanoacrylate or like super glue, that would be messy, but you could do it. Or like a 2-part epoxy would probably be the best thing to use there. That's how I would do it if I did it, but I'm not going to do it because I need to demonstrate how that little part comes out, like I'm doing right now. So I can't glue it in place on my personal pen, but that is how you would do it should you want to do it. Obviously that voids any type of warranty, not that you probably bother warrantying what was once a $30 pen. But anyway, that is how that works. Refer back to episode 333 if you want to see the higher end Sailor 1911s. The long and short answer of that is it's not eyedropper convertible. So that's not something, honestly, that most pen companies have as a strong consideration for their pens. I don't think it's a common thing that people are doing with their fountain pens, particularly outside of the US, because I don't think outside of the US, most people are using non-cartridge converter fountain pens, honestly. Like the cartridge aspect of pens is by far the most popular thing in Europe, and I'm not sure about Japan, but they're pretty cartridge centric as well. So the whole eyedropper thing is like 2 steps beyond what I think the convenience of what most people are looking for fountain pens. But for us diehard fountain pen people, it's like something we always want to know. So it's something that we always check. We always check if it's capable. Any new pen that we get, it's like, is it eyedropper convertible? Because we know we're going to get asked. But anyway, there you go, Lisa. Hopefully that helps you out. Thank you for clarifying, because now I could answer the question more thoroughly. All right, next question. Blue J Chow says, hey Brian, I always wondered, is it possible to swap out nibs in Sailor pens? In particular, the Pro Gear and Pro Gear Slims. Of course, not swapping between the two, which definitely wouldn't work, but with each category. What about Platinum, for that matter, the 3776? I'm sure that the companies would not suggest it, but if you have done this, and if so, would you mind doing it on camera? Well, officially, I'm going to say you're not supposed to do this, because if you mess with your nibs and anything goes wrong, that's on you. That's not a warranted thing anymore. But because I want to be very thorough in showing you how not to mess it up, I will demonstrate how you should not swap your nibs. Step by step, so that you can definitely know what you should not be doing, right? That is my official position on that. So that you can be most thoroughly educated how not to swap the nibs on your Japanese pens, because really none of them, Pilot doesn't like you doing it either. Of course, these are your pens, and I can't stop you from doing anything. But anyway, I'm also an authorized retailer, and I need to show you how to not void your warranty. So I have 3 pens here. I have a 3776 and the Châtre Blue, which is beautiful. I have a, what is this? Not Platinum. Sailor. This is a Sailor Pro Gear Slim. This was the first Snow, which came out early in 2025. It was here for like 4 seconds and they all sold out, but I want to flex, so I'm using that one. And then I have this other one that you can't get anymore. This was our Northern Lights Blue. This was an exclusive we did, but this is a full size. Not full size, well, this is a regular Pro Gear, just Pro Gear standard. When I say full size, I guess technically that would be the King of Pens. But this is a middle tier, because you got the Pro Gear Slim, you got the Pro Gear, and then you've got the King of Pens. Anyway, they do use different size nibs though, so you cannot swap them between the two, but I will show you how this works. So if you're familiar with swapping nibs, it's not a screw-in nib unit, so I can't just like do that. But, if I wanted to void my warranty and swap my nibs, what I would do is I would grab with my pointer finger here, wrap it around the metal nib, and then I would push on my thumb, pinching it, against my pointer finger on the back of the feed here. And then I'll take my other hand and I'll kind of hold it right here, and then I'll just push my fingers against each other so that I can very slowly and gently release that friction fitness that it has there and pull it out like such. And then the nib and the feed are separate from each other, but they do kind of lock in place. So the feed has this nice kind of inset, which allows you to set the nib in pretty definitively where it needs to go. It's even got this little notch down here. So it's pretty easy to align. And then there's no keyhole notch in here. It's just a round inside on the grip. So you can really set it in any place that you want. So what I would do is I would like set in, I would either like note where it is on the pen that I have, if there is any kind of design. Most of them don't have a design, but if it does have a design, I would note where it was originally, or I would just line it up to somewhere where I want it to be that I think looks good. And then you essentially just can kind of press it back down in place like such. And then it'll basically kind of click in place once you do it. You want to be careful not to be twisting the top of the nib. You don't want to be like ratcheting it around the wings, because then you can throw your nib out of alignment. That's where you can get into issues. But if you are confident enough in your own ability and you are excited about voiding your warranty, then by all means, I can't stop you. But you shouldn't do it officially, right? Pro Gear Standard, very similar manner. It's got a slightly bigger nib, so it's not swappable between the two models. But of course, if you had two pens that you wanted to void the warranty on both of them, you could certainly swap the nibs between them both, though I don't recommend it officially as an authorized retailer. Same principle here. This one is, let's see, it's a little tighter, but concept is the same. Okay. Most careful thing I want to do is make sure that I'm pulling it straight out, that I'm not, because sometimes when things can be a tough fit, it can be easy to want to like bend it as you're pulling it out. The last thing you want to do is you want to snap the feed, back of the feed off there. Though this is pretty hardy. Usually it's there's other pen models out there that have much thinner like feed posts, and I've definitely pulled some apart and snapped them off. Still works, but not ideal to be doing that. So yeah, there you go. And it's got the same kind of keyhole notch on this nib for the slightly larger Pro Gear. And then this one, as I'm looking at it, does look like it's got somewhat more of a keyhole. It's got this like one little flat spot. Oh boy, how easy is that going to be to see? One little flat spot, which is really tough to see, but if you know it's there, you can look for it. And then on the feed, the underside of the feed, it is flat. So that's where you want to match that up. And you can tell because like it really won't go in if it's not oriented correctly. So right now it's not oriented correctly, but if I orient it correctly, it will more naturally want to sort of drop in place. So yeah, let's see. And then it doesn't just drop in so easily. You still have to kind of know where you're going with it, which is probably why they recommend you don't do this. But once I get it lined up, I can put it down in there, make sure that my nib is lined up with my feed. It'll be pretty accurate because, it's keyholed, and then, of course, the nib sits into the feed there, but it might still just be slightly off-centered, and there we go. So I would do that, and then I would check my alignment and do any adjustment that I need to. And that is how one could do that. And then platinum is going to be the same thing, basically. Same concept. It's not like a Pelican nib where you can just like unscrew the thing out of there. So it's going to be the same thing where you pinch it together and then you just pull it out. This one is, look at that feed. The thing is huge. This one is not a keyhole notch either. So it can just kind of go in any direction. And then similarly, it also is notched out and fits in nicely on the feed. So that makes it kind of foolproof a little bit. So makes it really nice. You can just, mate it right up when you go to put it back in. The feed post is a little bit thinner, so you want to be careful with that. And it's also very long. But once you get that aligned, set that in place, that goes right in. It's not as tight of a fit as a Sailor. So with platinum, it's actually a little easier. But either way, you shouldn't do it because it voids warranty, and I recommend you don't do it ever. But now you know exactly how to not do it. So I'm glad I was able to show you that. And now you know what not to do. Okay, next question here I have from Lost Boy 88. Says, I'm not sure where to submit a question, but I'm wondering if there are any pilot cartridges that are close in color to Liberty's Elysium Blue from Noodlers. That's our exclusive that we have. I love the color, but want to leverage the ease of popping in a new cartridge due to travel and not wanting to syringe fill an old cartridge or a Con 40. Well, Lost Boy, you have submitted your question already, so you can now be sure where to submit your question, because all you have to do is ask in the comments on YouTube, because that's the primary place where I derive all my questions from. So pilot cartridges, yeah, this is an easy question to answer, which is why I wanted to take it, because it's super easy. So pilot now, they used to only have the like Namiki cartridges, which they had like Namiki Blue, Namiki Black. It was pretty basic, but they've more recently come out with Pilot Iroshizuku ink colors in their pilot cartridges. So the one that's actually a pretty close match is Pilot Iroshizuku Konpeki. Konpeki is a great medium blue, very similar to Liberty's Elysium Blue. Liberty's Elysium does have some water-resistant elements to it, whereas Konpeki is not water-resistant at all. But the color is actually pretty close, and it shades really great. So that is by far the easiest thing to recommend. It's $14 for a pack of them, so it is a bit on the pricey side. So that might be the only consideration. Definitely, if you want the convenience, that's the way to go. But as far as like price per milliliter, it's definitely more effective to get, a bottle and then fill the cartridges as you go. But you don't have to do that. So Konpeki, easy answer to get where you need to go. All right, Donald Rohrig has the next question here. What's going on with the TWSBI Vac Mini? This pen is perpetually out of stock everywhere. The rare find online has it going for $150 to $200, whereas this is a $65 pen new. Not gonna happen. Was it discontinued? Getting redesigned? I love my VAC 700 and would like to try the smaller version. Inquiring minds want to know. I see what you did there. Okay, well, I don't know, to be quite honest with you. I was looking, I was like, man, it has kind of been a while. We don't have it in stock. And I was looking at the back end of our site. Now, I would have to go more historically into like our archive stuff, but we have not had the pens for at least 6 months. That's as far back as I could easily pull. And I just didn't bother going back to see exactly how long it's been, but it's been more than 6 months. So yeah, that's kind of a long time. Now there's a clear version, there's a smoke version. We haven't had either of them. My guess is there's some kind of supply chain disruption of some kind. Either that or, I don't know. I'm totally speculating because I have no official word that's been discontinued or that's being redesigned. I know it's not a very popular pen. Or historically hasn't been, because it's not a high volume selling pen. So if I can speculate with an educated guess based on my knowledge of the pen industry and supply chain stuff, my guess is that it's one of a couple of things. Either there is some kind of like restock or redesign thing that just isn't made public yet, that's still kind of in the works. But, because it's not a high volume selling pen, maybe they don't make them very often because, it's not like they have one machine that only makes one pen and it's just cranking all the time. A lot of times you have like the CNC machines and various other things, injection molding machines and stuff like that, where you're changing out molds, you're fitting different things, and you'll do like a run of a particular model or type or color or whatever a pen, and then you change it out. And if you have certain pens like the Eco and stuff like that are way more popular than something like a Vac Mini, you're going to devote a lot more of your production time and equipment to making the more popular stuff. So it could be that there's some elements of, making the Vac Mini that they only do it in so often of a run. So if there's a disruption that happens there, it's felt like much longer. That's a possibility. I don't know that for a fact, but that I could see that being a factor. Also, it could be that there's some disruption in the supply chain because of some material that's used in it. I don't know what that would be exactly because, I don't know. It's not a super complex pen in terms of materials and stuff like that, but there could be something there that's maybe unique to that pen that's been disrupted, and they might have 95% of the parts, but there's one or two parts that they need to get for that particular pen that they just haven't been able to get. So that could be a factor. It's just something down the line that's affected. It could also be that we've had a lot of tariffs and other things going on this year. It could be that there's, cost considerations with that pen that, are a factor, I guess. And like maybe they needed to do another run of them, but they were waiting to see what happens with the tariffs. I don't know this is the case, but I know that there's been a lot going on with tariffs and stuff, especially in Taiwan and Asia and all that, that could be disrupting things. And given that it's not a high volume selling pen, if they happen to hit in a cycle where they were needing to make more, but trouble getting certain things, or didn't want to import them because they didn't want to raise the price because they didn't know, where there's lots of uncertainty, even still, it's all up in the Supreme Court as to these tariffs and things. I could see that being some kind of a factor as well. So all this to say, I don't know anything official that there's like some future state in question on the Vac Mini. I basically know as much as you guys know, that it's supposed to be normally carried, but it has been out of stock for a long time. And if it's out of stock everywhere and starting to sell at like a 3-4x multiple premium, that means it's been unavailable for a while, as you already know. But I don't have any specific information to share with you, which is kind of like, why did you take this question, Brian? Because you're not telling us anything new, other than I don't know anything. But there's nothing official that's been said like this pen's not going to be here anymore. I've always been a big proponent of the Vac Mini. I think it's a cool pen, but it's also not like a life-changing kind of pen. There's a reason why it's not the most popular pen, but I think it's neat. So I think it's cool. Like if you can get one secondhand, if we don't have them for a while, I don't know how much longer it's going to be, but if you can get your hands on one, it's a cool pen, but not at like that much of a premium multiple. It's not that crazy of a pen. So yeah, anyway, I hope it comes back. I would love to see him again, but I have no idea. So thanks for the question though. And then last question I have for this week, this is going to be the real D. Lysachev says, what is your favorite artist or designer that you wished he or she designed a fountain pen that you could buy and enjoy? Thank you. Oh, this was a good question. I took this one because I don't know that I've ever been asked this before. And it stretched me a little bit because I'm not a super fashion-y, designer-y kind of person. I mean, just look at what I'm wearing, right? But it did make me think. I was like, I definitely have design interests and preferences. So I thought it would be kind of fun just to talk on some. But I clearly did not like have people's names top of mind. I can't even remember the names of like music artists that I listen to a lot, and like what are their names and titles and stuff like that. So it's not the kind of thing I would have top of mind, but I did a little research. The first thing that came to mind that would be like obvious to me, I'm a big fan of Jake Weidman. So he's a master penman, calligrapher, artist, sculptor, very much a Renaissance man, also a personal friend of mine. So we have done some stuff. He's also the one who designed our Goulet pens logo. So if you look at that nice script on there, he did that for us. So definitely have collaborated before. And I love his work. Also just a super great guy, super nice family. So yeah, that would be an obvious one. And he's also in the writing world. So it would make a ton of sense for him to have his name on a pen and have a design around it. As soon as he asked this question, I was like, man, maybe I should talk to him about doing a pen. He's got like so much going on. It's ridiculous. He's got 4 kids and 2 businesses, and it's just crazy. Anyway, so he's one that immediately comes to mind. And then other ones, I don't have like specific artists that I follow, but I have styles that I think are interesting that I think would be pretty cool. That I haven't really seen a lot on pens. I don't know how well they would even work on pens, but I do have a few. I love geometric art, like geometric patterns. So things like what I'm going to be showing you here in the, what do I call this segment? It's a newer segment that I have. What's that back there? I'm going to pick something off the shelf. It's this little thing right here, this little box with some marquetry on it. Marquetry kind of stuff is cool. I like, 3D patterns. I like optical illusion stuff. I like geometric kind of art. So like MC Escher style really comes to mind. I don't think I've seen like an MC Escher inspired pen. I don't even know how well that would work, like a geometric pattern on a round, skinny object. But I don't know. I'd be kind of curious to see. I could probably do some AI generated ideas to come up with something. I don't know. But that could be kind of interesting. I don't know specifically of artists or designers, like I don't think MC Escher is, I think MC Escher is not around anymore, right? Like MC Escher was a while ago. Let me know if I'm wrong about that. But somebody that maybe does something in that style, I don't know. It could be kind of interesting. Also, I like optical illusion art. I just think that's really interesting. So I looked up, I just kind of Googled like who does optical illusion kind of art. And I found this cool article on Medium, somebody writing about this one artist, Viso Thakakve, Visothakakvi. Just discovered this person. I don't know anything about them, but their art seems pretty cool. So they do lots of drawings and stuff like that, but it looks like, the stuff's coming off the page, or it's like you're falling into a hole and like that kind of stuff. That stuff is really kind of cool. So I don't know, something inspired by that could look kind of interesting. And then that made me think of some like 3D sidewalk chalk artists that I've seen, very Instagrammable kind of stuff, but artists in like New York and other places like that, where they will do optical illusions in sidewalk chalk in the city, where it looks like, the sidewalk is like crumbling down into an abyss, or like there's a pool of water, or, there's like perspective things that like it looks really stretched out, but when from a certain angle, it looks very three-dimensional, but it's all just on the sidewalk. That stuff is so cool to me. So something like that. And I there's a few artists that came up as I was searching them. I don't follow these people regularly, but David Zinn was one of them. Julian Beaver has some really cool looking stuff. Kurt Wenner and Tracy Lee Stum. So those are some artists that do that kind of that style that I think would be pretty cool and would look good on a pen, potentially. And then it just made me think of, I was born in the 80s, but I grew up mostly in the 90s. And when I think of that, I think of Magic Eye. If you remember those books, I was a big fan of Magic Eye. I was really good at it. Like I could just look at a Magic Eye and like within a second, I could like sort of do whatever you do, uncross your eyes or you gotta look through the picture. There's a really good Seinfeld episode about Magic Eye, if you haven't seen that one with Costanza. Anyway, so I don't know. I don't think it would work doing it on a pen, but even still, just like having a Magic Eye look, it's a very 90s look on a pen would be interesting. It'd be really cool if you could actually get the Magic Eye pattern to work on a pen. I don't know that you could do that easily because it's round. I don't think it would work. But anyway, those are some interesting things. I don't know. I think those designs are interesting. There's probably better things out there that I can't even think of, but those are some of what came to mind. So those are interesting. Let me know what you think. And if you have any ideas too, let me know in the comments. All right, that's it for questions. I want to do a spotlight now on this travel workshop kit. So let's do that right now. It's going to be crazy because there's a ton of stuff in there. All right, check this thing out. It's pretty cool. It looks like a little suitcase. It's got some like gold foil on here. It's a very, very nice presentation on this. This is all printed on here, so you can just tell you're in for some goodness when they're intentionally making it to look like it's just got stuff everywhere. Everything you need to kick off your travel journal adventure, fun, memories, and a dash of wanderlust. Check this thing out. I was like, this is just made for unboxing. Esterbrook does a really good job with this kind of stuff. A lot of their packaging, a lot of their product design is really good. And I realize I have to zoom out because there's so much stuff in here and it's just going to go everywhere. I don't think I'm going to be able to fit it all in one shot. But I just want to show you kind of what's going on. Chase more memories, not things. And part of the reason I want to show this too is like, there's some pictures, we try to do some stuff, but like, it was just like impossible to take pictures to show you everything that's going on here. So I thought this would be a very good thing to show. All right, we got this cool little case, which is fun. It's got some nice little stitched things on here. You know, some of it's Esterbrook branded. Not everything is Esterbrook branded. So there you go. It's like a nylon type thing. I don't know exactly what this material is. Relatively thin, but seems strong. So we got that going on. We got this bag here. What's in there? I don't know. It looks like a letter. Maybe that's a clue. And then I've got this little leather thing, this little leather pen. I don't know if that's a bookmark or what. I think it's just kind of a novelty design thing. You know, Esterbrook branded in case of adventure, start writing. And then we've got some various stickers. So we got, let's see here, stickers, adventure letters, journey tags, and then we got some washi stickers as well. So I would imagine that most of these are meant to go inside the journal, like on paper. The washi ones for sure, but some of the other ones, you could probably stick it on some other things, you know, other objects that stickers can go on. So we got several sticker sheets there. And then we've got the main object, which is this notebook here, very much like a traveler's journal style. And it says enjoy travel on the side. That is printed on here. So it is a blue thing that says enjoy travel on the side. So it's got Esterbrook logo on the front. So very much Esterbrook branded. And then it's got some more stuff down here. Look at all this. We got some patches. These are like legit patches that you could, you know, adhere or embroider or stitch on or whatever you want to do onto your various things. Let's see what these things are. We got Esterbrook. Got just a more like a hello tag. Hello, enjoy travel. And then another Esterbrook one. And then it's got these little tags. Flight nowhere to nowhere. There you go. Is that a thing? I don't know. I'm not a travel journaler, but maybe some of these are like recognizable inside joke kind of things. This little bike thing is printed down in there, so nice little intentionally designed kit. But these are like, you know, full-on tags, right? So those could be fun if you wanted to put them onto a jacket or whatever. So we got those, and then these are stickers that you can stick on various things. So let's see what these look like. Oh, it says you can glue the back of this printed packet as you like to make it a real PKT. Is that packet? I don't know what that is. To make it a real whatever that is. So let me undo that. Okay, we got a nice little coffee mug. Got some tea. Jet fuel. I guess dark coffee. Little pen case there. No, maybe that's a pocket. These are all pockets. Okay, like pants pockets. There you go. So those are fun. So you could stick those on whatever. What else we got? Oh, more stuff here. Little travel stickers. Let's take a look at these things. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, travel, like on a map style. That's kind of cool. Little bike. Hey, that bike looks familiar. Ooh, that looks tasty. Little cupcake. Some flowers. Hamburger. Yeah, all this stuff. Just, I don't have to say what all this is. You can see it. Airplane, little compass. All just stickers, right? So various stickers that you can do, travel related. There's just so much stuff here. So many stickers and whatnot. Okay, what else we got? We got sticker sheets. I showed you those already. Okay, put those off to the side. Let's take a look at the journal because that's kind of the meatiest thing that's in here. So, traveler's journal style, right? I think this is not real leather. So that's a bonus if you don't want real leather. It's got two notebooks in here. One is graph, one is lined. Looks like a 7mm ruling. Pretty smooth paper. It's got like little business card holder things here, which is kind of convenient. I guess you could also put credit cards in there if you wanted to. And then this is just a pocket for, you know, sheets of paper or whatever. So that's kind of handy. Let's see here. It comes with, I don't think it has a bookmark in here. Not like a bookmark string. But you could certainly use one of these. And I think there's also like another bookmarkable thing somewhere else in here. But yeah, so there you go. How fountain pen friendly is this paper? I know you're curious about that. Because I'm curious about it and I want to see what I have inked up within arm's reach here. Okay, this is an Omniflex nib. Omniflex nib. And I have this inked up with Diamine. What do I have this? Diamine Marine. One of my faves. Okay, how good is this paper is my question. It's got a little bit of bleed through. It's not the best paper in the world, though it does write smooth. My guess is that this is probably not exclusively designed for fountain pen people, though certainly there's fountain pen things on here. This paper seems like it would be okay. Now this is a really wet nib, I will say that much. Let me see, I do have I just recently cleaned up and re-inked my little traveler's pen. Oh, got a little ink leakage on there. Apparently I didn't clean it well enough because that's not the color of ink that I have in there right now. I like soaked this thing because what happened with this pen, I need to explain it. Not related to the Esterbrook thing at all. I had a cartridge in here with Diamine Oxblood. The cartridge came separated and it leaked everywhere. Totally my fault. But yeah, that's why it's like patinaed now in like a totally different color. And I'm like, I kind of don't want to polish it because I think it looks really cool. So I inked it up with Diamine Majestic Blue. And I'm getting red ink in places still. So I'd soaked the pen for like a day and a half. Whatever. I'm just going to have red ink on me for the rest of my life. Okay, so this is Diamine Majestic Blue. And this is a fine nib. That looks significantly better. I think this Omniflex is just very, very wet. Omniflex nib, and this is what, Diamine Marine? Yeah, you can just tell how wet this is. That's going to push the limits on most paper. So, honestly though, it's got a little bit of feathering on the Omniflex. It looks great with the finer nib though. So maybe it's just the kind of thing you'd have to test out. A few different things. Yeah, so Omniflex is going to push it. But using a slightly finer nib, I think you'll be okay with most inks. So, but anyway, so that's that. You could also replace it with other notebooks, you know, that you like better. So that's the notebook. Let's check out the rest of this stuff, right? Got this fun little zipper case. And oh man, we got stuff in here. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, so this is like a little luggage tag holder thing. So you can adhere this onto whatever you want. But I believe I was messing with this earlier. Oh yeah, okay. So this thing, this is the little bookmark. So it says, last time this was your page. So I guess you could use this since it doesn't have a bookmark thing. I guess if you wanted to, you can. How does this work? You just like stick it in here. There you go. It does stick out a bit. But there you go. It's a little bookmark thing. So that's fun. Okay, other stuff. So it comes with a brush pen. Clear brush pen if you wanted to do any brush work. I don't know why it comes with that, but it does. Got some washi tape, some pancakes, a little luggage, and pens. Well, I guess the washi tape has all kinds of stuff on it. It's not just those things. What's it got on here? Okay, so we got, I don't know, some kind of like porridge, brunch. Okay, so this is all brunch related stuff. Gotcha. This is all travel related stuff. So we got, you know, some little, what are those things called? Truffles with some coffee, various things, luggage, travel. Okay. And then this is a pen one, and it just has like notebooks and steno pads and that type of stuff. Scissors, journaling, envelopes. Neat. So those are fun washi tapes. And then, what is this? An all-purpose ink pad. Okay, so we got an ink pad going on. Why do we have an ink pad? That's a great question. We got a couple of ink pads. Why do we have multiple ink pads? Let's see. I looked at all this earlier, but I don't know everything that's on here. Oh, hang on. We got different colors. Whoa! Look at these things. I don't even know what is happening with these. How does this even work? I want to touch it, but I'm sure it's going to get color all over me. That's cool. I don't know what to do with that, but seems interesting. Hopefully y'all know more than me. This is a straight up ink pad, and that I know is for these guys, which come in an envelope with a stamp on it because they are stamps. Okay. Ta-da! Stamps. So this is for you journalers out there. You can't tell exactly what it says because it is backwards, but let me see if I can give you an idea. Okay. I don't stamp a lot of things, but I don't see why we can't try. Let me take my plastic off of here. Okay. Stampy stamp. Let's see what this one says. Oh, that makes sense. Well, we're still going to try it out. So you can have your month lineup list. There you go. There's your months. Did I do that right? Seems like I need more ink on there. Do you add ink to it? I don't know. Y'all probably know more about ink pads than I do. I think you can reload ink pads, can't you? Isn't that a thing? Travel log. So that one says, boom. It's got your little travel log. So you can kind of put that in there and write it down. Looks like it's like a dark brown kind of color, which is neat. It's all about food, place, rating. Oh, that's fun. So if you're eating at different places, you can have this nice little rating thing. So you can write down the place, your star rating, what kind of meal you ate there. I'm gonna have to clean off all these ink pads. I'm just realizing how much work I'm creating for myself after this video is done. Okay, and then last one, what I'm buying. So what the thing is and how much it costs. That's fun. This is not my style because this is a lot of work to do all this, but I can totally see this being the right thing for somebody that likes to journal and likes to travel and do all these kind of things. Pretty neat. I like it. I don't know. Maybe I'll get into this kind of thing. I don't want to promise that. But anyway, lots of fun. That pretty much covers what all is in this kit. So now you see, it is kind of a lot of stuff. But anyway, if you have somebody in your life who likes this kind of stuff and wants to just have fun, it's clearly like a 15-minute unboxing experience here with lots more fun to be had, especially for somebody that knows what they're looking at more than I do. Yeah, lots of fun in a box. So now you know what this thing is. For 80 bucks, you're definitely getting a quantity of things, a multitude of objects that are all fun travel journal related. And then, of course, you have all kinds of combinations of various things that you could do to carry it around in these different pouches and so on. So yeah, there you go. That's what this thing is all about. Now you know, and you can pick one up for yourself if you're interested. I don't know how long they're going to be around because Esterbrook does design these cool things, but they're usually they're onto something else after a few months. So it's a kind of thing that I don't know specifically there's an end date, but I could see there being an end date after a couple of months. So maybe have it up higher on your list if you're interested, but at least now you know what it is. All right, let's get into Brian's adventures. All right. Hi, everybody. I'm going to try and be brief just because I'm already running pretty long in this video, but I feel like I got to make up for not being here. So why was I not here? Well, we had Thanksgiving, right? We ended up having Rachel's whole family stay with us. So her parents and her sister's family. And yeah, it was a fun household. So 10 of us in the house for a full week, which was fun. Honestly, it was great. No one got injured. No one was sick. which is kind of like our baseline standard for a successful family visit. No, it was great. We just got to do with that many people in the house, it's just, other than meals, it's difficult for all of us to do one thing together. So there were lots of like subgroup activities that were happening, various outings, various, movie watching, various game playing, and so on, activities, woodworking, all that fun stuff. So it was good. The weather was pretty dang cold. So we did not spend a ton of time outside most of the time. We did a little bit. My father-in-law and I did some tree clearing because I've got some trails that I've cut, and haven't been out on the trails very much, mostly because I keep getting stung by yellow jackets. So I like to wait until it's cold to spend all my time hacking away out there. So we did. We cut up a bunch of trees that were across the trails. So that was good. Get all that cleaned up. Let's see here. What else? What else did we do? We did a huge Thanksgiving thing. So we do a big Thanksgiving meal with the whole turkey. We cook the stuffing inside the turkey, and then we use the turkey liver, and got this recipe that's like 40, 50 years old that her parents have always done for Thanksgiving, that a chef friend of theirs taught them how to make gravy specifically from, the turkey liver and some various other things. So it's a whole ordeal. It's a whole thing. But Rachel's parents did that for better part of 40, 45 years. And then a couple of years ago, passed the torch on. So it's mostly my brother-in-law and I that like run point on the whole turkey thing. And that seems to work really well. So Rachel and her sister help a lot with like the sides. So mashed potatoes and green bean casserole and, biscuits and the whole thing. So it's a pretty dang good meal. We all eat pretty well. And then what we do is we always have leftovers. So then Friday, what we did is we made some fresh green bean casserole and crescent rolls, and then fresh mashed potatoes as well. So some leftovers, but also some fresher things, because that's the stuff that doesn't reheat quite as well. But yeah, so it worked out really well. We ate really great. And yeah, I still kept up with my intermittent fasting thing. I'm still doing that. So no breakfast and lunch for me, just dinner. So kind of made it easy for Thanksgiving because I was already kind of used to it. But boy, when you're cooking and doing the whole thing, to not eat until dinner time, it's tempting. But yeah, so that was really good. Did some woodworking projects. My father-in-law likes to do some wood turning. So I had a big chunk of cherry that was like, I had a cherry tree that was dying on my property. I don't have a lot of cherry trees, but it was this one that was dying. And before it completely died, I took it down, and it had this one really knotted up, nasty looking part of it. And I was like, that looks like a burl. I think that's going to be a really cool looking thing. So, I cut that part out and kept it. And I was like, that'll be really fun to wood turn one day. So this was the day, a couple days ago. So we took that thing, threw it on the lathe, and he's turning a bowl out of it. And it's crazy looking. It's got all kinds of voids and stuff like that. So it's a turning challenge, but it's looking pretty cool. So I'm hoping the thing doesn't completely just like split and break itself apart, because sometimes that can happen, especially with these crazy burls and stuff like that. Because when you have this huge log, it's very, very wet still, even sitting out for a couple of years, it's very wet on the inside. So what you do when you're wood turning is you have to turn it down, leave it thicker than you want it, then let it dry out some more, because, when something's that thick, 6-8 inches, it almost never dries on the inside. So once you turn it down and you have like less than an inch of thickness on the whole bowl, you got to kind of let it sit for like a month or so and dry out some more. So what I did is I bagged it up with the shavings that we, cut off from the thing, so the shavings kind of keep it contained. It kind of regulates the moisture, because if it dries out too quickly, that's when it can like really rip itself apart. So we're going to see how it turns out. I hope it stays intact. But it's tough when you have something that already has voids in it and it's all burly and the grain is going every which way. You just don't know what that thing's going to do. But anyway, that was pretty fun. And then did a fun woodworking project with my niece. She loves to be out in the shop. So she's the one who previously we had made the squirrel lounge setup, like a squirrel house, but it's really like lounge chairs and a picnic table. So we did that. You may remember me talking about that a while ago. So her initial idea, she wanted to do a squirrel pool, like a bird bath type thing, but for squirrels. And she wanted it out of wood. And it was like, oh boy, that was a challenge. Then she also wanted to do wind chimes, like wooden wind chimes. And it was like, ooh, okay. And she was like, you could do it, you could turn it and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, yes. But I was like, let me Google what this even is. Cause I was like, technically we could probably do it, but that's gonna be really hard to turn something like this big, really long. It's like, that's a huge challenge actually. And then I looked online and it was like, oh, everybody makes these out of bamboo, which makes a lot more sense because it's already like a round hollow thing. It's like, okay, I don't have any bamboo rods, but you know, that would make sense for this kind of project. So I was like, what other ideas do you have? This is previously she'd asked to build a wooden go-kart. So just to give you an idea of like, we're moving in the right direction in terms of what's capable and practical. But then she was like, she really wanted like pirate swords. I was like, swords? Okay. We were like, you know, this is me and my brother-in-law. We were like, will this pass the mom test? So we gave like 1,000 disclaimers of like, we can build you some swords, but you have to not use them as weapons. Basically like, or like role play type stuff. But like, if you and your brother hurt yourselves with these things, mama's going to be mad. So we did the dad move and we were like, okay, let's do some swords. Because at that point it was like wind chimes and squirrel pools was like, I don't know how we're going to make all this, but like swords. Okay. I can wrap my head around that. And she helped too, you know, it was a good time. We got to, you know, work together and do it kind of as a little mini family. But we did, we turned out some swords, very, very blunt swords. These are not sharp at all. You know, it's essentially just like a glorified stick, but it looks pretty cool. So it turned out pretty well. So that was fun, interesting little challenge. I never know what the kids are going to throw at me when we do these projects. Also, we got our Christmas tree up. We got some lights up. We don't go full out decorating, but we've got our Christmas birds out. You know, Rachel's got seasonal birds, little target birds that she likes to get. So we got some of those, put those out. And then we just did lots of like card games, board games, watch lots of like Christmas, Thanksgiving movies, stuff like that. Just stuff that the family likes. And then just on a personal note, I've talked before about like my love for things like Severance, like these psychological thriller types things. So I heard Apple TV has a show called Pluribus, which is, you know, made by Vince Gilligan, who did Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, which I've watched. And those are a bit violent for me, but really well done. So Vince Gilligan is making a new show called Pluribus, which is pretty interesting. So I'm on that train now. So highly recommended to me by a few people who knew the kind of things I watch. And so, yeah, I'm watching Pluribus. So if you're watching that, go ahead and leave me some inside jokes in the comments. And that's it. So, yeah, just some other things. I just lots of downtime, lots of drum playing and various things, but just mostly family time, chilling together, taking it easy. All right. That's it for now. Let's do a what's back there real quick, and then we'll wrap this thing up. All right. What's that back there? So this is a segment that I'm doing, at least for the time being, until I run out of objects, but take various things from my background and explain why it's back there. So I'll show you what I have today. I have this thing, which is pretty cool. This is my wooden puzzle box. This I bought in Japan. So I traveled to Japan in 2019. I had never been to Japan, but I went there for Platinum's 100th anniversary. So that was really special to get to be a part of that. But also just to get to go to Tokyo and some places. I got to see Mount Fuji. Just some beautiful places. But I got one of the stops that we did along the way was not even planned, but it was kind of an impromptu thing. So we did like the I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it's where you can get the black volcanic eggs that are like cooked in like this the volcano. I can't remember where it is, but it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing there. So I did that. I ate the black egg, which was kind of neat. And then nearby where that was a puzzle box place. So I think it was maybe recommended by a tour guide or somebody who was at the egg place. And they'd mentioned something like, oh yeah, there's like this place that makes these puzzle boxes. And I was like, woodworking, puzzle boxes. I was like, yes, I want to go to there. So we made just an impromptu kind of pit stop over and checked out this place that was called Hakone Maruyama. They have a website. Go check it out. It's pretty cool. But we got to sit down with this, it's like a family-run thing. And the gentleman who was showing us didn't speak any English, but was showing us how to do it. It was very animated and showed us the technique of how they actually make this stuff. So they have all different kinds of objects, but I picked up this and a couple of their smaller things, but this was my big purchase. But it's basically marquetry. So this is all wood, right? And I mentioned how I like geometric, kind of patterns and stuff. And it's like, this is the kind of stuff that I'm like super into, right? Like it looks really cool. Basically the way they make this, and I just so appreciate it from a craftsmanship standpoint, is they will have, these like sticks essentially that they glue up. So they will cut out these tiny, tiny little rods of various types of wood and like very thin sheets and veneers and stuff like that. And they will glue it up one piece at a time into these long rods. And then they take a hand plane and they basically take this rod and go over the hand plane and shave off little thin pieces of wood, little thin veneers. And then they will glue them up onto these boxes. It's just so much work, so much time, but I so appreciate the craftsmanship that's involved in making this. So it ends up with all these geometric patterns, which all come from these rods that they hand make. So it looks kind of crazy looking, but from a craftsmanship standpoint, it is just so cool. And I can appreciate the woodworking that goes into it. But then the object itself is also really cool. So this is a 10-step puzzle box because it has 10 different steps. So when you know how to solve it, it's pretty cool. I don't have anything in here right now, but I'll show you how to actually open this thing. So step one is you slide that over to the side, and then that slides down. You slide that over again, and then that slides down again, and then that frees up the top to be able to slide like that. And then you can work on the other side. So you slide that notch over, go down, that notch over again, go down. So that's 9 steps. And then the 10th is you slide that away. And now you have access to the inside of your box. So isn't that cool? So I'm super into this. I have the memory of going on the trip, getting to spend time. I got a video of the guy doing it. We got a picture together, which if I can remember, I'll throw it up here so you can see it. And then the physical object itself is fun. It looks beautiful. It's woodworking. It's puzzles. It's like so much about what I love. And it's also just kind of a fun thing to get to show people. So for that reason, and I got it on a trip with Platinum and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, it really ties so many things together. So I have that just kind of chilling up there in the background so that I can get to see it and enjoy it whenever I'm in my office. So that is my What's That Back There for this week. Go check out Hakone Maruyama and support them because they put a lot of work into these things. And honestly, for what they charge and how much work it is, it's very, very fair price. So anyway, no affiliation. I just am a fan. Okay, let's wrap it up, shall we? We've taken long enough. I want to thank you for watching. Leave me some feedback. Continue to ask questions because how you ask questions is by leaving comments on the YouTube video. So keep asking me questions and I'll keep talking about things. Check out gouletpens.com for fountain pen paper needs. We're going to have lots of stuff that's fun and exciting and interesting for the next several weeks as we get into the holidays. And my fun fact for this week, as I was thinking about how many orders we are shipping out and all this kind of stuff, it got me thinking like how many packages are flying around in this country this time of year. So I was just curious. I looked it up, found a Reuters article that talked about a company called ShipMatrix that estimates this kind of thing. The number of packages that will go through the U.S. during the holiday season, which I don't know exactly which days those are, but I assume it's like Black Friday through Christmas. The ShipMatrix estimates that U.S. package delivery companies like FedEx, UPS, all that, Amazon, USPS, DHL, that those companies are on track to deliver 2.3 billion packages this holiday season, just in the US. And apparently that's a 5% increase from last year, partly because there's an extra day because of where Thanksgiving falls. And just for fun, this was not in the article, but I thought, why not? Assuming that there is 1 cubic foot of space per box, which I don't know if that's, I feel like that's, 1 cubic foot is like this big, which is probably maybe on the low end because some of these boxes get way bigger than that. But I figure like we ship a lot of pens and a lot of smaller than that. So I figured let's just peg it at that. 1 cubic foot. How much space would that take up? So there's this cool site that's just fun for goofiness called themeasureofthings.com. So if you're very curious, like quantity or volume or whatever, what it does is you type it in and it gives you like how many bathtubs would that fill up or how many, Olympic sized swimming pools or whatever. So I was like, well, this would be a fun one to do. So if we assume 1 cubic foot of space per box at 2.3 billion packages, that is the size of 30 Great Pyramid of Gizas. 30 of them. Or if you're looking more stateside here, the Houston Astrodome, which is pretty big stadium, you could fill 55 Houston Astrodomes with the number of packages that we send for the holiday season here in the US. Now, granted, there's 380 million people or whatever, but still, that's a lot of packages. That's a lot of packages this season. So if things take a little while, that's why, because there's a lot of stuff flying around this time of year. Anyway, that's all I got for you this week. It's going to be back. I'm going to be back until Christmas time. So, you got me for the next several weeks, at least before another break. Thanks for watching. I enjoyed spending time with you guys. Thanks for inviting me into your life. It's a busy time of year, but I'll be rocking Christmas sweaters for the next several weeks, I think, because this is my time to wear them. I want to thank you for watching. It's good to be back. And right on.